time for our monthly update. Maybe.
Yes. Monthly update. Again, as always, I'm Daniel Frankson, your Atlanta real estate expert.
And I'm Jasmine Krnjetin with Jasmine Mortgage Team. And I'm your financing queen.
Yeah, that you are, especially here in Atlanta. And today, for our monthly update, what we wanted to kind of touch on, we had a couple of situations this past month, or we've seen some situations, I should say, where some buyers have been complaining about their mortgage increasing, not long after closing or at some point after purchasing the home. And there are a couple of reasons this can happen. So we wanted to touch on those and stress the importance of having a knowledgeable loan officer in your corner during the home buying process that's going to educate you on all of the potential things, and also how your realtor is important in helping you assess those things as well.
Okay, so let's start at the top. So number one thing to make sure is that you are getting a fixed rate mortgage.
Okay, fixed rate.
Fixed rate. That
as
means
opposed to
an adjustable rate mortgage.
All right. What would the difference there be?
So an adjustable rate mortgage is a mortgage that starts out with a low interest rate, and it's locked at the low interest rate for a certain amount of time. It can be 3 years, it can be 5 years, 10 years. And then after that point, the mortgage is going to adjust based on whatever the current market rates are.
Got you.
We don't see that many adjustable rate mortgages right now. What we're seeing more of is the 2-1 buy downs.
Yes, been seeing a lot of those in the market.
And so the 2-1 buy down is a situation where you know that your interest rate is fixed for 30 years, but the first year it's going to be a lower interest rate, lower 2% lower. Second year it's going to be 1% lower, and then year 3 and on, your interest rate is going to be fixed. So if somebody, it's typically negotiated, right? Like
yes.
into the contract. And so I feel like if you are working with a real estate agent, you will hear about it early on.
Right.
You'll know that you have a 2-1 buy down.
Yeah. And so just to speak on the 2-1 buy down from a real estate standpoint, in the current market where rates are hovering right around 6.5%, 7%, what has made the 2-1 buy down pretty popular, especially in the new construction world, is that some lenders you're able to, as you mentioned, reduce that interest rate. Now, I don't want to say any incorrect numbers, but if, let's say, market rate is 6.5, and the first year with that 2-1 buy down, I can get it at 4.5.
Yeah.
How much money would I be saving on, let's say, a $500,000?
I don't know the exact math, but I would probably say $300.
Yeah. So
$300 a month.
Few $100. And so by the time you multiply that by the 12 months in a year, that would be a savings based on having a 2-1 buy down. And in the second year, you're probably saving about half of that, maybe $150.
Yeah.
But there's a savings before you then go into year 3 through 30, where it's locked in, right? So that's a great example of why your mortgage may fluctuate or it may change after the first year, or shortly after purchasing. Any other things that we should be looking out for?
So if you check off the first box, yes, I do have a fixed rate mortgage. At that point, then it's going to come to the other parts of your payment, right? Because there is 4 different parts to your payment. Typically, you've got your principal and interest, which is just your loan amount times your interest rate over 30 years. Then you've got property taxes, property insurance, and then mortgage insurance. The next one that would be most likely to go up is going to be your property taxes.
Good old property taxes.
And those tend to go up no matter what you do.
Yeah. Nothing we can do to control that, right? Yeah. And so one of the things that sparked this particular topic of discussion was my wife had shared a video with me on TikTok. I was talking to you about it earlier on. Now, mind you, I'm very new to this TikTok thing. I'm an old man. So,
TikTok's already like come and gone, and you're just getting on it now.
She forced me to download it, right? So within the first 15 seconds of this video, the gentleman says that, I don't remember the exact numbers, but let's say he closed on a new construction home. His mortgage was $3,500, and then once the property tax bill came out, his mortgage went up to $6,000. It was a pretty significant jump, and he was shocked. He wasn't anticipating that. But what I quickly figured out from the video is that when he was purchasing the home, new construction, they assessed the property taxes as if it was just land.
Land only.
Just land only. But it was interesting to me that he said he was buying the last home in that neighborhood, which would tell me that the lender,
the attorney,
the builder, the agents, they all knew that isn't that number on the paper for property taxes wasn't representative of what was accurate. So from a lender standpoint, how would you assess a situation like that?
So typically, like here in Metro Atlanta, like if you have, let's say that you know, when you buy a home, you always kind of look at the tax bill. And, you know, if you're buying the house from like a little old lady that's had the home for the last 25 years, that tax bill may be like $800, right? Versus if you buy a home from an investor, that tax bill may be like $8,000, right? And so whatever tax bill you inherit really is not... It's not what you should base your next year's payments on, right? And so sometimes I'll see lenders just kind of use whatever last year's tax bill is, and then your monthly mortgage payment is going to start off pretty low. Like if we just inherited that $800 tax bill, and then the actual tax assessment should have been 1.5 times the purchase price, right? Like so, if you're buying that $500,000 home here in Atlanta, we would guesstimate that next year's taxes are probably going to be $7,500. Gotcha. But if the little old lady's tax bill was $800 and you set up your initial mortgage payments based on $800 a year versus $7,500, you can see how somebody's tax bill is going to jump. Or, not only that, but the monthly mortgage payment next year.
Right. But from everything that you said, it sounds to me, and I know the answer to this, it sounds to me that a lender that knows their stuff and does an excellent job of educating their buyers, a buyer would know that well in advance. It wouldn't come as a surprise when that actual assessment is, when the assessment is done over and the new tax bill comes available, correct?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's just one of those really important things that you need to be aware of when you are buying the home is kind of question. Like I come up against it all the time because you'll have buyers that will get they'll get a quote from a lender or another lender. And then for some reason, one lender's mortgage payment is $500 less per month than the other. And so as a consumer, you're thinking, well, I'm going to go with the guy that's giving me the lowest monthly payment, right? Yeah. But you don't realize that the only thing that's happening here is they're using an outdated tax bill versus the actual monthly payment. So I'm always going to be very upfront and I'm going to say look, I know that the tax bill says $800. Your taxes are going to be $7,500. So let's just go ahead and... Let's
just work with those numbers.
Let's just be realistic.
From a realtor standpoint, I would look at that to say, okay, you want your payment to be about $3,000 a month, but you're saying that this lender over here can get you, the mortgage at X, and this one over here, as you said, is $500 higher. Well, let's look and see why that is. But you have to understand the importance of all the components that make up a mortgage, how those various components can change, whether stay the same, go higher, go lower, how that impacts your monthly payment. In the scenario I just gave about the individual that bought this home in Illinois and saw their mortgage skyrocket because of the property taxes, one of the things he mentioned in the video is that the first thing he did was fire his realtor because the builder wasn't paying any compensation and he didn't want to pay the compensation, which is his right. I'm not, going to bash him for that. However...
a lesson for another day.
Next video. But a competent agent that has worked the new construction market quite a bit would have already known to assess the taxes to see, okay, are they estimating taxes at what is going to be with a fully developed home on the property, or are they just estimating the land by itself? Other thing that you mentioned in the video was that it was the last home in the development. So again, a competent realtor would have already known that this development, let's assume it's probably 100 plus homes, it didn't get built overnight. So there was probably 2-3 years that builder was in that community, which means we should have at least 2 years of actual assessments to
from
look at
county.
And pull from, right? From the county, from the city to work with. So these are some of the reasons why it's important to ensure that when you're putting your real estate team together, your realtor, your lender, it's not just about working through that one transaction. It's about the information and the knowledge and the continued resource that you get post-closing.
Yeah.
Because I know you guys definitely follow up all the time with past clients just to check in, just to see how things are going,
Yeah.
answer any questions that may come up as it pertains to property taxes or, things of that nature. And the same with me on the real estate. And at the top of the year, I'm always following up with buyers to discuss the exemptions that they may qualify for, homestead exemption.
On the tax bill, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
For example, to maybe help them save or reduce their mortgage payment. So I know you mentioned another way that the mortgage can, fluctuate or increase.
Another thing to think about is homeowners insurance. A lot of times people will just get a quote for their homeowners insurance or when they're buying the property, and then it's just kind of like, well, it's included in my monthly payments, and you just kind of set it and forget it.
Yeah.
But insurance costs with everything that's going on, like the fires and the hurricanes, all that kind of stuff, insurance costs are continually going up, and I always have to when I'm doing a quote, I'm like, well, last year that was $500. Well, this year it's $1,500, right?
Major difference. Yeah.
Taxes are going up, homeowners insurance is going up. So also every year, just kind of pay attention to what is happening with your insurance, because you will get a notice in the mail, right? Even though you are not paying the homeowners insurance out of your pocket every year, you will get a notice from Allstate, State Farm, whoever, saying, "Hey, this is the projected cost for next year," and that is your cue to pick up the phone, shop around. You can switch insurance companies if Progressive is going up or whoever, right? Like you just have to kind of pay attention to your insurance. And then along those same lines, that also translates into, say that you're buying a townhome in an HOA or a condo. Those HOA fees are also having to go up because insurance costs are going, right? The community is always going to have like a master insurance policy, right? And so those things, like we used to see like HOA fees in Atlanta, $125, $150.
I don't know where you're finding that anymore.
$350, $390.
$400.
Yeah.
For condos, that's probably about on average for a decent building.
Yeah.
At a higher price you go. I mean, we've seen HOAs in some buildings that look like mortgage payments, $1,500, $2,000 a month. I mean, they might have top of the line amenities, but these are also things to keep in mind. Yeah. It's funny you mention that because I had an uncle recently that broached the topic of potentially investing in a condo in Miami. And then speaking with some of my realtor colleagues down there, they said the condo market in Miami currently, it's a challenge because insurance is one of the biggest reasons. HOA dues and special assessments, another reason. So, I mean, you might find a building that is a unit that's a deal, but then your HOA and your insurance is adding another mortgage payment on top of your principal and interest. So again, this is just something that we just wanted to introduce. Make sure that you understand and you're aware of all the nuances of the numbers and the figures in the real estate world. I mean, again, as Jasmine mentioned, we could be looking at one home in the city of Atlanta and it could have two totally different, scenarios as it pertains to taxes based on who the buyer is, what exemptions they qualify for. Easy way to think about it is if you buy a home and the property taxes are $6,000 annually, you're looking at $500 added to your mortgage per month, right? Yeah. If that goes up to $12,000 annually, it's gonna double. So if your mortgage was $2,500, including at $6,000, and it goes to $12,000 for property taxes, your mortgage payment is now going to go to $3,000 a month. It isn't the lender that determines that. Yeah. Right. Yeah. The tax assessment is totally separate from them, but the thing is, a qualified and a competent lender and a competent realtor will let you know in advance of these factors so that you can make a decision upfront that is best for you prior to going through the process. Yeah. Right? Yep. Do you agree?
I agree.
And that's what we're here for. So as always, if you guys have any questions, our information is available. We're available, I'm going to say 7 days a week.
Let's go for it.
We're 7 days a week. I know you're available 7 days a week. You done save me on Sunday. You're up in the mountains and save me a time or two. Sunday at 9 p.m. Daniel, don't worry, 5 minutes, we get it to you. So if you need us, we're here, we're available. We're always happy to talk all things real estate from the sales side, from the lender side. And again, we're here to be the team that helps you not only make good decisions up front, but also to serve as a resource for you after closing, because I think that's what's essential in this business.
Yeah, we're going to be like your financial real estate team for life.
There you go.
Every 5 to 7 years, you come back to us.
All right, we'll catch you guys next month.